It has been a wild first week with Donald Trump as our president. We're going to cover all the details this week on Wolves in Finance. The week started with Donald Trump issuing his inauguration photo. Take a look at this. This is his photo from the 2016 election compared to his photo now. Can you tell a difference? I certainly can. I think he looks older, he looks wiser, and he means business. I'm getting excited for his presidency already. On Monday, we had the inauguration ceremony at the Capitol. The first thing I noticed was the seating arrangements. You had all the tech billionaires sitting in a line. Not only were they together, they were sitting behind the chairs where the Trump family members were going to sit. This is strange. This is very VIP seating for business owners. I don't remember that ever happening before. Then Jared Kushner walks in. In case you don't know, Jared Kushner is the son-in-law of Donald Trump and married to Ivanka Trump. He sits down in front of Mark Zuckerberg. He then ignores Mark Zuckerberg and talks to Amazon owner Jeff Bezos. What is he working on with Jeff Bezos? And why does everyone ignore Mark Zuckerberg?
We got one. Mark, are the allegations true that you are secretly a lizard? I'm gonna have to go with no on that. I am not a lizard, but keep the high quality comments coming in.
Why is Mark Zuckerberg even there? Do you remember? He worked with the Biden administration to censor Americans on Facebook. But so did Jeff Bezos. Do you remember that Amazon Web Services banned Parler? I remember that. Jeff Bezos banned an entire social media platform to the benefit of the Democrat Party. Why is Jeff Bezos there? And what is he talking to Jared Kushner about? I do not trust these guys. Now, quick fraud alert. I am keeping an eye on Jared Kushner. He worked closely with Donald Trump in his last administration. After Donald Trump left office, Jared Kushner opened an investment firm with $2 billion from Saudi Arabia. Now, there is nothing wrong with that. However, Jared Kushner should not be doing anything at all in the new Donald Trump White House. That would be a conflict of interest. Again, no one has done anything wrong so far, but this is someone to watch out for. Then John Fetterman showed up. You've got to be kidding me. Does this guy own a suit? What is he wearing? I am sorry, but this is not appropriate. If John Fetterman cannot wear a suit, I think he should be kicked out of the Senate. He needs to put on some big boy pants and have a little respect for the American people. Then the Paul brothers, Jake and Logan Paul, were also there for some reason. In case you don't know who they are internet celebrities. Logan Paul is famous for his controversy of filming a dead body in a Japanese forest in order to get clicks on his YouTube video. Apparently, during the inauguration, they messed with the chair of comedian Theo Von, who then fell over during the ceremony. Again, this is not appropriate. What is wrong with these people? Why did they invite these knuckleheads? To be fair, Logan Paul has since released an official statement saying that the chair prank was not his fault. He claims that the chair was already broken and it was completely random that they happened to be vlogging it on camera. Right. It sounds to me like a setup. I don't understand why the Paul brothers were even invited. I can think of a whole long list of people who are better qualified to sit there, and they would not cause people to fall out of their chairs. Then J.D. Vance was sworn in. Can I just say something here? I hope that everyone gets to be in a relationship with someone who looks at them like J.D. Vance's wife looks at him right here. Am I right? She obviously loves this guy. I think they are adorable. Then we had the official first dance. The president and the first lady look amazing. This looks straight out of a movie. And then we had the cutting of the cake. and Donald Trump started doing his famous dance while holding a sword. This guy is so cool. He's doing a sword dance. Can we give him a sword to hold all the time? Then he could walk around the White House and use it to chop down the deep state. Now, the mainstream media coverage about the inauguration is outrageous. Here's Jimmy Kimmel making fun of Melania Trump.
Trump actually got involved in Melania's outfit for this ceremony. A lot of people are talking about it. He told her he thought it would be super hot if she dressed like a goth Al Capone. And so she did. We found Carmen Sandiego.
What is he talking about? Melania Trump looks stunning. She looks nothing like the cartoon character Carmen Sandiego. First of all, Jimmy Kimmel, you are not exactly a fashion expert. In fact, you look like a slob. Second, we just spent 4 years with a first lady wearing things that look like this. And you are making fun of Melania Trump's fashion? I think your criticism is misplaced, sir. She obviously looks like Audrey Hepburn. But the most covered event of the inauguration was Elon Musk's speech, where he allegedly gave a Nazi salute.
This one really mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you. My heart goes out to you.
What do you think? Do you think he was doing a Nazi salute? I will be honest, when I watched Elon's speech, that thought never entered my mind. I never even thought that. He just looks like his normal, awkward self. Then someone posted this on Twitter, comparing Elon Musk with an actual Nazi protest. It does look kind of similar. This is quite unfortunate. But can we just take Elon Musk in the context of his speech? It's not like he was saying Heil Hitler or anything. You can take any speech out of context. What about this one? Or this one? Or this one? Or this one? When people started pointing out this obvious hypocrisy, Newsweek posted this fact-check article claiming that these photos of Democrats were stripped from the context of their speeches. They actually claim there's a difference between Elon Musk's gesture and all the Democrats. Are they actually crazy? How can they believe this? The media is so crooked. I wonder if they saw this clip of Tim Walz. That gesture looks familiar. I think the Democrats need to take a good, long look in the mirror. They love to call Republicans Nazis, but that's funny because it's the Democrats who are trying to take away your freedom of speech. They are the ones weaponizing the justice system. They are the ones arresting political prisoners. And which political party has protests supporting the Hamas terrorists attacking Israel? Oh yeah, the Democrats. I really don't think they should be calling anyone Nazis. Then Elon Musk talked about going to Mars.
Can you imagine how awesome it will be to have American astronauts plant the flag on another planet for the first time? Bam! Bam! Yeah!
Here's my only thought on the mission to Mars. Can we not fake it like we did the last time with the moon landing? And before you leave a bunch of angry messages in the comments calling me a conspiracy theorist, answer me these questions. Why are there no stars in the background of this photo? Why is the flag waving in the wind in space? And why does the impression of this footprint not match the bottom of the astronaut's actual spacesuit? If Donald Trump could look into these questions and get back to us, that would be great. Then Donald Trump got right down to business. On day one, Trump signed 42 executive orders. I'm not going to go through every one, but here are some highlights. Trump withdrew the U.S. from the World Health Organization. This is about time. We should not be giving up our national sovereignty to an organization that we know is corrupt and is largely controlled by Bill Gates. Good riddance. What I find especially troubling is that YouTube's policy still mandates that no video posts can contradict the WHO. YouTube, what is wrong with you? The US is no longer even a part of the WHO. Why is this your policy? Trump withdrew the US from the Paris Climate Agreement. This was a phony agreement based on the climate hoax. It put no restrictions on China, but for some reason makes the US pay hundreds of billions of dollars. The real goal of the Paris Climate Agreement is to destroy American national sovereignty. I am glad we are out. Good riddance. Trump saved TikTok. TikTok went down for one day and people lost their minds. People were calling 911 because they could not live without TikTok. Donald Trump's executive order postpones the shutdown for 75 days. I do have to say, I personally think TikTok should still get shut down. Let us not forget, the CEO of TikTok lied in front of Congress multiple times. I'm sorry, but a Chinese company should not be able to lie to Congress and still be able to operate in the US. That should not be allowed. But Trump is more forgiving than me, and he thinks he can still work out a deal. This is just another example of Trump getting things done that the Democrats could not. Trump granted pardons for 1,500 January 6 political prisoners. This is amazing. Day one, the political prisoners are released.
And here is the reunion that he was waiting for, embracing his mother.
The hug he promised there, squeezing her as hard as he can.
Trump faced pressure even from Republicans who were telling him not to do this. But no, Trump knew this was the right thing to do, and he released all the prisoners. Let me just highlight one example. There was a prisoner just released named Jake Lang. He has been held in prison for 4 years and 5 days without a trial.
This freedom that we're now enjoying with the President Trump victory would not have happened unless the Jan Sixers had suffered in the gulags, knowing what was at stake when we went to the voting booths in 2024. It was something that you had to feel and touch. American people got intimately, viscerally responsive to real modern day tyranny. This is not powdered wigs in our founding fathers in the textbook. We saw them kick down the doors of people and raid homes and drag grandmothers out into the street. It was no longer pages of history. We knew what was at stake if we continued to allow the Democrats and this deep state regime to take over. And we mandated and pushed back at the voting booth, which we did in 2020, but it counted in 2024. And that's all that counts right now, because I'm home and I love my girl right here, my fiance, and I'm so happy to be home. And it's a blessing. It is such a blessing to be around you guys right now.
They never brought him to trial. They just kept holding him in prison. Even if you do not agree with what happened on January 6th, you have to admit this is wrong. You cannot hold someone in prison for 4 years without a trial. That is against everything we are supposed to stand for as Americans. You can go case by case of these January 6 prisoners, and there are so many examples of injustice for these poor people. This was absolutely the right thing for Trump to do. I am so happy to see these people return home to their families. Trump required federal employees to return to in-person work. This is a much-needed reform. In a report last year from the Public Buildings Reform Board, they took employees' cell phone data and used it to determine how many people were actually using federal office building space. They found out that only 12% of federal office buildings were being utilized. 12%. No one is coming into work. The worst agency was the Department of Energy, with 0% office utilization. Are you telling me that nobody needs to be at work at the Department of Energy? Doesn't someone need to be there to make sure the power is turned on? I'm starting to realize that we are really lucky that the last 4 years were not even worse. It's good to see that Trump is making government get back to work. Trump restored free speech and ended federal censorship. I cannot believe it. This one feels so good. We're going to have free speech again. The Joe Biden White House would directly contact social media companies and order them to censor people who criticize them. Trump is saying the government is not going to do that anymore. This was Trump giving a speech on Thursday.
In addition, I'm pleased to report that America is also a free nation once again. On day one, I signed an executive order to stop all government censorship. No longer will our government label the speech of our own citizens as misinformation or disinformation, which are the favorite words of censors and those who wish to stop the free exchange of ideas and, frankly, progress. We have saved free speech in America, and we've saved it strongly.
No more of these ridiculous labels for misinformation or disinformation. These were labels that were used so many times for things that we would find out later were actually true statements. Restoring freedom of speech is such a wonderful thing. Trump declared a national emergency at the southern border. Trump issued a whole list of things to stop the immigration crisis in this country. The most epic is that he ended birthright citizenship. This is something that never made sense. It's the idea that an illegal immigrant can come to this country, have a baby, and the baby automatically becomes an American citizen. Just so you understand how rare this is, look at this map. This shows in green all the countries that allowed birthright citizenship. Very few countries did this. Well, the US is doing it no more. This one change alone is going to disincentivize a lot of people from trying to illegally cross the border. Now, Democrats have already brought lawsuits to fight this in court. But I think Donald Trump does have the power to do this, and I expect he will win against any objection in court. Trump defended women from gender ideology extremism. Trump announced that the government will only recognize two sexes, men and women. If someone wants to come up with their own gender, they're free to do so on their own time, but they can no longer use the government to force it onto anyone else. Most immediately, this is going to affect women's prisons. Under Joe Biden, as long as a biological male prisoner claimed they identified as a female, they would be put in a locked cell with another female prisoner. This has been happening.
A Madera County judge ruled this week 52-year-old state prisoner Tremaine Carroll must be referred to with she/her pronouns because Carroll identifies as a woman. But the district attorney believes the defendant is abusing the system.
This is a person who's not a woman in any sense of the word.
In March, DA Sally Moreno charged Carroll for rape allegedly committed while incarcerated at the Central California Women's Facility in Chowchilla.
After his first cellmate became pregnant and was moved to Los Angeles, two other cellmates of his complained that he had raped them. So we have filed rape charges against this inmate.
Moreno says the ruling regarding pronouns impacts her ability to prosecute the case.
This is a particular issue in this case because it's confusing to the jury. In California, rape is a crime that has to be accomplished by a man.
Supervising Deputy DA Eric Dutemple says it's also unfair to the victims.
It's just absolutely insane that a victim would have to get on the stand and police their pronouns and their usage when trying to recite one of the most scariest times in their lives.
There's no psychological evaluation that needs to be done. This person doesn't need to be on cross-gender hormones. They don't need to be signed up for transgender surgery. They don't even need a significant psychological evaluation regarding gender confusion. The mere statement is enough.
The CDCR has since relocated Carroll to Salinas Valley State Prison for men.
I cannot imagine a more horrible situation for a woman to be in. We need to protect biological women's spaces. One of the biggest executive orders of them all came on Thursday when Trump signed an executive order to declassify all files about JFK, RFK, and MLK Jr.
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order ordering the declassification of files relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
That's a big one, huh?
A lot of people are waiting for this for years, for decades. And everything will be revealed.
He says everything will be revealed. I cannot wait to see these documents. The list goes on and on. So many amazing things accomplished in the first week. This reminds me of an old Trump clip.
But you are going to be so proud of your country because we're going to turn it around and we're going to start winning again. We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with health care and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more. We're going to win so much.
He's right. There's so much winning. I can't handle it. Please stop. It's too much winning. Now, there are some promises that Trump made during the campaign that I noticed are missing from this list. Reforming the Department of Education is one. Changing IRS regulation to have no tax on tips. That's another one. He also promised to get the price of gas below $2 a gallon. But I realize that some of these things are going to take some time. Some are going to require legislation. I know that he cannot do everything in one day. So let's give him a break. I will continue to follow the story to see if he keeps his promises. But there is something that has not been mentioned that Donald Trump could start on day one. We need a new investigation into who tried to kill Donald Trump. Why has he not mentioned anything about this? We're still unclear on who the shooter was. The FBI has said that the shooter in Butler, Pennsylvania was Thomas Crooks, but there is photographic evidence that suggests it could have been Maxwell Urich. The body has been destroyed, so there's no way we can verify the identity. Number one, the American people deserve a thorough investigation so we can at least know who took the shot. And then we need another investigation following up on all the evidence that suggests the shooter had help from someone on the inside. That means there might currently be a traitor within the Secret Service who tried to kill Donald Trump. Why is this not priority one? To figure out who the traitor is and bring them to justice. The American people deserve to know what steps are being put in place to protect Donald Trump. Because to me, it seems like they're not doing enough. Also, I would like to know, where's the pardon for Miles Guo? This is someone I've covered a lot on this channel. This is a political prisoner that the U.S. is holding on behalf of China. The prosecutors admitted in court that they worked with China in building their case. This was another unfair, unjust case out of New York. Miles Guo is an innocent man who's being held in prison because the U.S. under Joe Biden was doing the dirty work of the Chinese Communist Party. Donald Trump needs to pay attention to this issue. At the very least, they could allow Miles Guo to be under house arrest at his home so that he can work with his lawyers to resolve this mess. Let's get this man out of prison. Speaking of pardons, I need to talk about the greatest tragedy of this week. Minutes before Joe Biden was about to leave office, he announced blanket pardons for Dr. Fauci, Mark Milley, the January 6th committee, including Liz Cheney, and the entire Biden family. Unbelievable. That means the American people cannot get a trial and cannot get to the truth of what these people have done. This is especially frustrating because if Joe Biden is pardoning them, that's a strong indication that they are guilty. You don't pardon someone if they are not guilty. It also suggests that these are the people in Joe Biden's inner circle. He would not have pardoned them unless they were working together. These are the people who plan to destroy America and steal the presidency. Think about it. Dr. Fauci stirred up chaos around the virus, justifying massive mail-in ballots that somehow didn't materialize the next election cycle. Mark Milley participated in setting up January 6 and then coordinated with the Chinese behind Donald Trump's back. Liz Cheney covered up everything with the fraudulent January 6 committee and then destroyed all the evidence. These are traitors who work together to set everything up. And I was willing to suspend judgment until we had the trials, but since they've accepted the pardons, that means they have accepted guilt. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Now, January 6 prisoners have also been granted pardons, and some people don't want to accept them for this same issue. They don't want people to think they are guilty when they did nothing wrong. Let me just give a message to any January 6 prisoner. Don't feel bad for accepting a pardon. We know that you are not guilty. Most people recognize there's a distinct difference between the January 6 political prisoners and the criminals that Joe Biden pardoned. The difference is that the January 6 prisoners are normal people like you and me. They're everyday Americans. The people Joe Biden pardoned are some of the most powerful people in the world. That's the difference. That is what makes them guilty. Now, already, people like Alex Jones and Steve Bannon have said that Donald Trump should ignore the pardons and prosecute all these people anyway. I have done some research, and it appears to me that Joe Biden is within his rights. The Constitution gives the president very broad power to pardon people. If Trump goes to court to contest the pardon, I don't see any court overturning the pardons. We would just be wasting our time. Blanket pardons have been done before. After the Civil War, the president pardoned everyone involved so they could not be prosecuted for treason. It's obviously extremely unusual for Joe Biden to do this. If he wants to forgive his criminal buddies for treason, just like they did in the Civil War, that's his option, but it just shows how horribly corrupt the Democrat Party is. The whole Joe Biden presidency is defined by him intentionally breaking the law, hurting Americans, and then pardoning the people who committed crimes. Not only that, Joe Biden issued a blanket pardon for Michael Byrd, the police officer who killed Ashley Babbitt on January 6. This is excruciating to hear. This was a cop who shot an unarmed woman. He should be prosecuted for murder, but instead he's getting a pardon because the person he killed was a Trump supporter. Since this post went viral on social media, every major fact-check website has released a fact check that claims this never happened. Factcheck.org says, there is no evidence that Biden pardoned Byrd or that Byrd testified before the House committee on the January 6 attack. Byrd is not mentioned in the Select Committee's final report, and he isn't among those in the report's full list of committee witnesses. Well, factcheck.org, since you obviously did not do your homework, let me show you the evidence. Here is the pardon signed by Joe Biden that says it covers the police officers from the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department or the U.S. Capitol Police who testified before the Select Committee. Here's the January 6 report. Here's where it talks about Ashley Babbitt's shooting. And in the footnote, it references this press release about the January 6 investigation posted by the Department of Justice. Now, technically, the fact-checkers are correct that this article and the report does not mention the name of Michael Byrd specifically. But of course, during the investigation, they are going to get the testimony of the shooter. Of course they are. They just didn't put his name in the press release because they were trying to keep it out of the press. So if Michael Byrd is ever charged with murder, you better believe he's going to claim that he is covered by this pardon. And the pardon is written broadly enough that it will probably stand up in court. These fact-checkers should be ashamed of themselves for lying to everyone. I did not realize that Joe Biden was capable of this level of evil. This is just straight evil. Ashley Babbitt's mother will forever be denied her day in court to get justice for the death of her daughter. This just shows what a crook Joe Biden is and why I believe he is the worst president in the history of this country. Now, just to highlight how extreme these pardons are, here is a list of the number of pardons granted by the last 4 presidents. Joe Biden granted 8,000 pardons? What? He's only second to Barack Obama. Why are the Democrats trying so hard to let so many criminals out on the streets? It seems like the only people the Democrats are trying to put in prison are their political enemies. I don't know how anyone can look at this and not find it outrageous. But for some reason, the media has been ignoring Joe Biden's pardons and only focusing on Trump's pardons. Here's what Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say.
I'm not doing this. This insane place up here and all of y'all's obsession with January 6th is absurd. Everybody outside of here is sick and fucking tired of it. I'm serious. And so Joe Biden pardons all these murderers and rapists and disgusting people, and then everybody up here has got their panties in a wad because J6ers got pardoned. Like people that walk through open doors. A lot of them walk through open doors. That's it. But everybody here is like, J6. Seriously.
Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks the mainstream media should not get their panties in a wad. I have to say that I agree with her. There is a silver lining to Joe Biden's pardons. Did you notice any names that were missing from his list? Specifically, no one was pardoned who was involved with the weaponization of the justice system against Donald Trump. I think Joe Biden was pissed off they were not successful in putting Trump in jail, so he left them all exposed. I also think the Democrats actually want Donald Trump to fix the justice system. They don't want the Republicans to weaponize the system against themselves. By Joe Biden not including those people in the pardons, the Democrats are giving Donald Trump a green light to fix the justice system. Christopher Wray at the FBI did a lot of suspicious things. So did Merrick Garland at the Department of Justice. So did Judge Merchan in New York. Everyone involved should be prosecuted for conspiracy. And I think the Democrats are going to support it. Go, 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 Donald Trump, you have a green light. Let's fix the weaponization of the justice system. Do you know who else Joe Biden forgot to pardon? Nancy Pelosi, someone who was intimately involved in setting up January 6. If you think she's covered under the pardon for the January 6 committee, she is not. It was reported by The Hill. Asked during her weekly press conference if she has provided any testimony or documents to the investigative panel, Pelosi said no, adding, "I keep as far away from the committee as possible." Do you remember this quote?
Have dissuaded him from coming to Capitol Hill. They told him they don't have the resources to protect him here. So at the moment he is not coming, but that could change.
Oh, he comes, I'm going to punch him out. This is my mom.
I would pay to see
I've
that.
been waiting for this, for trespassing on the Capitol grounds. I'm going to punch him out and I'm going to go to jail and I'm going to be happy.
I am sure Joe Biden is still pissed off at Nancy Pelosi for replacing him with Kamala Harris. This is payback. Joe Biden just gave Trump a green light to investigate Nancy Pelosi. So there you have it. Joe Biden is out, Donald Trump is in, and a new day is here. I am ready to make America great again. What I want to know is, when are we going to invade Greenland? I am ready to get our troops and go on in there. Let's get it. Now I want to hear from you. Are you happy with Donald Trump's first week in office, or is it too much winning? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. If you find these videos helpful, consider signing up for a monthly membership on my website, wolvesandfinance.com. For $6 a month, your support helps me to keep making these videos. And let me show you something. When members sign into the website, you get access to the social media platform, and you can see what people are saying about what is going on. Now, I'm a little biased, but I think this is the best social media platform out there. So if you're a member and you're interested in the truth, definitely go and check out what people are talking about. I'm Zach from Wolves in Finance. Thank you for watching.